And up next on Radio Flange Goblet, it's the After Movie Diner, featuring Reba McEntire as Joan of Arc.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner with your host, John Cross.
That's right, I am John Cross, and this week I just didn't bother to write anything. It's bleedin' Christmas, sue me. Over to a diner.
Don't forget to lean in like this. Lean in and talk loudly.
Loudly.
Okay. Hello and welcome to what is essentially the Christmas episode of the After Movie Diner. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas. Season's greetings and all that.
Season's joy. Bananas.
All that fiddly.
Could we get a fresh glass?
Could we get a clean glass?
Yeah, we're all right then. Oops. Fresh glass demands, like the prima donnas we are.
Well, I
Merry
think
Christmas. Get me a glass.
first of all, we didn't say it like that.
No, we didn't.
Secondly, there was noticeable goop on it. Like, I don't normally require fresh glasses when I sit down, unless there is, and I even picked up, thank you so much, I even picked up the glass and attempted to scrape off said goop with my fingernail, and said goop didn't come off. So that was my benchmark for requiring a new glass. And I think, to be honest, that's fair. Don't you?
Very fair. I think it's super fair.
Yeah.
I don't think you could be any more fair.
I think
like Ebenezer Fair.
I have I have other benchmarks. You
So I guess it'd be like fair, because like Ebenezer Fair is just some bloke called Mr. Fair.
Yeah.
So they happen to be Ebenezer. It should be like Fair Scrooge something. Who's like, no wait, yes. So that he's like Scrooge's cousin, but he's really good and nice.
Yeah, cousins don't work that way. Cousins, it's not like you have the same last name, same first name.
Do you never have the same last name with your cousins?
No, you might have the same last names, but you wouldn't have
Maybe
the
he's
last...
Ebenezer Scrooge, isn't he? So
Yeah.
you'd have to be Fair Scrooge.
Oh, I see.
Fairy Scrooge. It's the whole other thing. My whole metaphor didn't really work anyway. I just could have left it at Ebenezer Fair. Because it was like, oh, you're fair, but it's Christmas. Let's move on.
Right, but then you...
But I can't.
See,
I can't move on. There's any
much-
inaccuracies in the metaphor. I can't move on.
I much preferred Ebenezer Fair.
Me too.
Because Scrooge has become synonymous with, like, being a Scrooge.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a tragedy for those who seek to cobble together weak Christmas-based metaphors in semi-popular movie podcasts.
Anyway, here we are in the After Movie Diner. We're sat in...
It's quite a...
We're sat in...
It's quite a long time after the movie.
Yeah, we're sat in the Harold.
The Harold.
The Harold. Not Harold, and not Herald, considering it's on Herald Square, but the Harold. So hello, welcome to Harry. To Harry.
Maybe like a sign maker misheard them and they went, oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Because the Herald makes sense. It's
Right,
Herald Square.
it's Herald Square. But if the sign painter misheard them and just went all Harold on them, and they went,
hey, that's cool.
Hey, that's cool. That's it. Harold.
That's great.
And why do we call ourselves an American bistro? We're not a pub. We're an American bistro.
Hey, I know what I want. What do you want?
Can I get just shoot a drink?
Yes, can I get a cup of English breakfast tea with milk?
And I would like just a regular Coca-Cola, please.
That's good. Do you need more time?
I think I know what I want. Do you know what you want?
I know what I want.
Okay, cool. Actually, the wild mushroom scrambled, is that just like, that's a fancy name for lots of mushrooms, or is that eggs involved?
It's eggs with mushrooms and cheese.
Okay, that's
Kind of a breakfast dish.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'm going to have that. Cool.
And I'm going to have your house burger, please.
How would you like it?
Medium, please.
Are you okay with bacon, tomatoes?
Am I okay with bacon? The more the bacon, the better. No tomatoes, though. Everything else is fine.
Anything healthy, get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of tomatoes. So we're in the Harold, to Harry, going forward, to Harry. And we're here the morning after, well, the lunchtime after, well, the afternoon after the morning after.
Yes.
We're the day after.
Day after movie dine.
The day after movie diner, which still works. It's still after the movie.
It's still technically, yeah, exactly.
Well, no,
technically correct.
Technically, it's after the movie, but we're not in a diner. So you should really be picking holes in the fact that we're not in a
Yeah, it's
diner.
after movie bistro.
It's Which I think probably in this day and age would have gone down so much better as a title.
True.
People would be like, oh,
The Oscar movie Bistro.
wait a minute, people discussing movies in a bistro.
No, because Commode would be like, what's a latte? What's a bistro?
What's a bistro? Do you mean pub? Commode, get off my radar.
Yeah, get off my radar.
It's clearly somewhere betwixt a wine bar and a pub. It's a bistro.
That's where we live. I've
well-
always lived in between a wine bar and a pub, metaphorically and literally.
Yeah. So we're into it, Harry.
We are.
And it is essentially a Christmas episode.
Yes.
A happy Christmas. And we are going to be
Are
talking...
you going to be recapping the things that we've said
No,
on a
shut
regular
up.
basis?
I don't know. Are you going to be interrupting me each time I get to the point where I'm going to say something new?
Yes.
I was literally like recapping so that I could then work my brain up to like the next part
I
of
see.
the
All right.
introduction.
I'm sorry. I
And
forgot.
then you, like a
Because it's still
steamroller of
basically early,
shite.
even though it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We can still taste the toothpaste mentally.
Yeah.
We can still mentally taste the
I
toothpaste.
still mentally have
So you have to keep
toothpaste
it. Is this what
in my
meetings are
hand.
like with you when you're away? Oh, hang on. No, wait a minute. Right.
Wait a minute.
So you're Steve, and this is
We're in a room.
we're in a conference room, and right, Steve, go. We've been at half an hour, and you keep going back. Anyway, sorry.
That's often how meetings are with me.
Yeah.
That's painfully accurate. Actually, that's not true at all.
No.
I come into meetings, I go, bish bash bosh.
Bish bash bosh.
Steve, Alan, and Jeff.
Yeah, bistro pub bistro.
Go get this done.
Yeah.
And they go, should we get it done in a
We
bistro?
call it a bistro. We call it a bistro. Let's call it a bistro.
Let's call it the Harold. Anyway,
Here we are. After the movie.
essentially Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Let me just say Merry Christmas. Afterwards in a perfunctory manner. She's now done 4 times. Such the Christmas episode. Merry Christmas.
God, I'm gonna pierce my eyeball with a fork. And because it's Christmas, that's the next line I wanted to say.
Because it's Christmas.
Because it's Christmas, not only are people relentlessly cheery and annoying, but you suggested,
Yes.
and I'm laying
Yes.
it
The
squarely at
blame
your
should be
feet.
laid me. Although I don't regret
Hang
it.
on. I don't regret it. I regret nothing.
Should no regret.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's
There
not true.
are some
That's not
things
true.
I regret.
No. Actually, you're required by law to regret some things.
Yeah.
Part of your court order was a list of things that you, John
regret
Cross, have to regret legally.
Yeah. Things I have to feel despair about, things I have to feel regret about, things I have to feel nonchalant about.
All part of the plea deal.
All part of the deal. But I don't regret that. We went to see Mary Poppins The Return.
I think it's Mary Poppins Returns, not Mary Poppins : The Return.
Well, is it The Return of Mary Poppins?
No, it's Mary Poppins Returns.
Is it?
Yes.
I think it's The Mary Poppins Returns. Or The Return of Mary Poppins. Or Mary
Returns.
Poppins.
The Return of Mary Poppins
Colon,
Returns. That'll be the sequel. The sequel will be The Return of Mary Poppins: The Return. The Return of Mary Poppins Returns.
Okay.
The Return.
How many turns is that? Figure it out. Wait a
Well,
minute.
that when we started. It's a circle.
She's still facing the same way. Turn. Wait a minute, no, that doesn't work.
With 360 Poppins.
Back with 360 Poppins. 180. We got it.
We're going to get a 180. We just heard from Iger at Disney. It used to be a 180 on the Poppins front. 360 is too much.
You've overrated the Poppins footage, haven't you? Well,
Too much egg on the Poppins.
Yeah. You've overinflated the Poppins, reduced the air
Reduce
in the
the
Poppins by 20%. We went to see The Return of Mary Poppins.
No, we didn't.
Anyway, we went to see
That was the sound of your patience clattering to the floor. Tea.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Do you need sugars?
No, thank you.
So, I didn't know whether to start with this question or not, but
Sure, why not?
I'm going to
We
start.
didn't. It was half an hour.
I'm going to start with the question and then I'm going to backpedal and explain it. Here's my question.
Okay.
Based on the movie and the contents of the movie,
Yes.
and before people are like, oh, here he goes, based on me going in with a very clear, near I say it, nonchalant mind towards the whole proceedings.
Yeah.
In other words, I didn't go in with any preconceived. Right? Look at that. No Heinz here. It's Sir Kensington's ketchup.
Cool.
Which, by the way, is a member of the association I work for.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's nice.
St Kensington's.
That's nice.
It's posh ketchup.
Of course it is, mate.
Basically, they mash tomatoes, but they do it with a monocle.
And mash what now?
Tomatoes with a monocle.
I don't blame you. You do work for a food association in New York. So you're right, you're just going to start calling tomatoes.
So here's my question.
Fire away, mate.
Based on the content of the movie,
Yeah.
who is this movie for?
I don't know.
Let me explain that. For the listening minis.
Oh, I know.
What?
I think the movie is for mothers
Right.
between the ages of 25 and 45.
Right. It's a good demographic. It's a strong demographic.
To take their children to
Right.
after shopping, after Christmas shopping.
No, right. But
Or during the Christmas season.
there is a well. So there's two things.
Two things.
Firstly,
There will be more than two things.
there will most definitely be more than two things. So firstly,
Yeah.
this falls into what essentially I define as the remake trap.
Okay.
And I'll explain this. Essentially, the remake trap is this. And the question, who is it for, is always begged by myself.
Very wise, mate. Who will beg if not you?
If I can remember to original,
Yeah.
right, and dare I say love to original, may even possibly own to original, and frequently watch it about the seasonal time of year, right? This will be a pale retread that will add nothing more to the mythology, right?
Right.
Apart from maybe a little Tommy squeaker of nostalgia, but we're really talking just a little of nostalgia, and then we move on. And the second bit of the remake conundrum.
Is it the second bit of the remake conundrum, or the second of the two things?
No, the second of the remake
So
conundrum.
this is
Still part 1B. 1B. Thank you.
Got it.
Alan, make notes.
I told you.
Alan, make notes. It's 1B in the minutes. 1B/6.
Yeah.
No, but it's so.
Alan has been with us for every single episode, but it's the first time that we've mentioned him. He sits here while we wang on for hours.
What's funny
I
is
want to go home.
he's very quiet. We never get him any food.
And he lives in Barnsley, so his commute is a nightmare.
Absolute nightmare. He's like, what do you mean you're at the Harold? I've been waiting at the diner since last night. Oh, sorry.
I've done the diner in Barnsley.
Yeah. Did we tell you we're not doing the diner last night? So anyway, the second thing is this.
The second thing of the first thing.
If it's not for the adults, or let's say it gives very little in the way of relief, joy, pleasantries, or whatever to adult that might remember, nay, love the original, then you go, well, look, maybe it's for the children. Maybe it's for the children, you think. Maybe it's for this whole new generation that marketing people keep talking about. Are you looking for the milk? It's right there in the...
No, I'm looking for a spoon and someone to put my tea down.
You don't have either.
No, I don't do it.
Excuse me, sir. Could we get a teaspoon and a small plate? It's very clever that the milk has come in some sort of churn-shaped receptacle.
It is. It makes me go, now this is a bistro.
This is a bistro. If ever defines a bistro. Because what they did, right, someone somewhere had to make the decision. They were like, we need a milk receptacle.
Someone
And
had to.
People around the table went, we do need a milk receptacle. Should it be a little jug? No. It's been done, mate. It's been done. Have you ever...
Sick of little jugs.
Everywhere I go...
Always with the little jugs. Bore me, I'm bored.
What
Thanks, mate. That's very kind. Thank you.
what options do we have? Well,
None,
there is this milk tail shaped thing.
Wait a minute, what's this? What's this fresh idea? Hoving into view?
It's to give you.
It's going to be the making of the Herald, and I've told you,
It's
the
the
sign makers fucked us.
It's to give the idea that behind that curtain over there in the kitchen is a woman lively tweaking the teat of a milk filled
I think it's the word you're looking for there.
A milk filled
A milk-filled cow, yeah. I mean, certainly that's what I'm thinking about now.
Yeah, udders.
And now I'm super hungry.
Udders. So anyway, right, so you go, well, maybe it's for the children, maybe it's for the next generation. People are always talking about, like, remakes, John, you're just old and grumpy. Remakes, they're for the new generation. That's what they always say, right? And a lot of remakes, which redo, let's say, for example, the horror origin story, may well be for the new generation, because one need not know or understand or have any familiarity with the original. One can just go in and be like, this is not a very good horror movie. I wonder what all the fuss is about Friday the 13th when this one is not a very good one. Or whatever people do when they watch remakes. Mary Poppins, on the other hand, the return of...
The return of Mary Poppins Returns.
Le Retourne, considering we're in a bistro.
Right.
Throughout the whole film, continually mentions not only things that happened in the first movie, but also characters and names and things and places and da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's intrinsically tied to the first one, right? It's trying to hammer home its sequel credentials very early on, right?
Right.
And yet, rather than telling a compelling sequel story, it merely just retreads a bunch of other stuff. And the moment you go into any of the fantasy sequences, you go, oh yeah, this is slightly less interesting because I know that it's CGI and I know that they can just draw anything that they want. So it loses both the magic of the original, but also tries to sequelize the original without... But it can't be for the... It just doesn't work, is what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough.
So that's the first thing.
Wow, that was the first thing. All right, cool. Second thing?
No, you go on now.
No, you can have your second thing.
No, I forgot it.
Okay, so my thing is, I had a weird experience because on the one hand, I enjoyed the songs and the music a lot more than I thought it was going to. I thought the music
You didn't
was good.
think they all sounded the same?
No. I other than...
Mark Shaman has a very specific style.
I don't know him.
And it's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely fine. But it's like once you buy about the third... It's like Gilbert and Sullivan. Every single song is like... Here's a wordplay, twiddly, wordplay, right? And then the song ends. 3 minutes later, another character comes on in a Gilbert and Sullivan play, and he's like, I may be a different character with a larger mustache, but here's more twiddly wordplay. And you're like, Gilbert, you're very clever. Sullivan, you're also a bit of a brainiac. Beyond that, I'm not quite sure your appeal, but well done, mate. Mark Shaman is kind of like the modern version.
Well, all I'm saying is...
Sorry. Even where the music's concerned, I'm listening to the songs and I'm like, oh, wait, is this Fly a Kite or is this like Up in the Air? Or is this, oh no, wait, is this, Tuppence a Bird or whatever, is this, whatever. Like, all the songs I felt had like musical motifs from the first one, which I understand the desire to do that, to tie it intrinsically with the first one, but it all blended into each other's horrible mess. Well, anyway, you carry on.
So the first thing to say is, I did sort of enjoy it. It was Christmas, and we were in the movies, and we were on heated seats, which I've never sat on before.
I have to say the heated seats were my favourite part of the whole thing.
Yeah, but it was like it was half empty because it was a new cinema, little heated
on the heated seats.
little heated button, and so
AMC.
And it was kind of cold and rainy outside. So sitting in the warm seat while they sang songs in this pleasant, a pleasant movie,
right,
felt quite Christmassy. And I think that I was expecting it to be sort of passable but the music would be kind of annoying. But I quite enjoyed the music. I quite enjoyed Lin-Manuel, and I liked the look of it, and I liked a lot of the choreography and how it was all put together. I thought that was all very cool too.
Well, I have to say on the point, the cast are giving it to be.
Okay, so wait, because I'm not done yet. So I have three.
Oh, you didn't like the
I
Blunt?
have three huge problems with the movie.
Oh, okay.
One is Blunt is an amazing actress, but I've got no idea what she's doing all the way through the movie. Anytime she does something that's real, like that's her decision, you know what I mean? It's good and it hits. But for the rest of it, she's doing a Julie Andrews impression, maybe.
Right, which is what the movie's doing, so
Right.
it fits perfectly.
Right, but that's my, it's completely hollow in the middle because she's not allowed to go. Look, she's not Julie fucking Andrews, right? And Mary Poppins is a character, so like you know, much like Batman or whatever. But the idea is not. It's like Chris Pine, right? When he was in the Star Trek movie, regardless of how you feel about it, wasn't aping Shatner, but he was giving like a Shatner-esque performance in terms of like he was a bit arrogant and he was a bit, you know, like one eyebrow up and all the rest of it. But he wasn't like trying to copy the way Shatner talked. That would have been immensely off-putting all the way through the movie. You know what I mean? But this is all she was doing.
Burger here.
Great, thank you very much. Lovely. I will. Wow, this is great.
Sorry, I just want to point out that apparently in the New World, a bistro requires not only French fries but also chips on top of crisps and chips or whatever you want to call them on top of your French fries.
Of course, mate.
To give you added bistro.
Animals.
No. Not only that, but being a bistro, they are fancy orange and purple chips. Because apparently plain beige potatoes, old hat mate.
Very old hat. So,
I'm surprised they're not sweet potato fries glazed in.
And this is what you do. This is your life. You're looking at your life.
That's awful.
yeah, sorry.
So, yes, I don't. All the way through, I just found it immensely distracting. Anytime she was her and she was properly acting and made her own decision about something. The best bit of the whole movie was when she did the song when she was being a bit like, hey, and can't judge a book by its cover or whatever. And she was just being her. She was able to go, hey, I don't have to be Julie Andrews for this one. And so she was really, really good. But the rest of it was like, she's not. It was just an empty hole in the middle of the movie. That had no character. Nothing.
Also, can I point something else out? And I haven't watched the original in a long old while. Was it just me, or did everybody want to have sex with Mary Poppins in this film?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
There was like a weird... Everyone's going to have sex with her, right? Like there was a weird undertone of that, or is that just me?
No, you're right, there was that. But I liked the songs, there were lots of neat bits, there were lots of neat set pieces. But the second thing I had a big problem with was the main set piece, the big one, the big song, right in the middle with the huge choreography, everything's been building towards, was shot in like grey fog. And the song was rubbish. Like it was the only song. The Light Fantastic was like, what is this? This is garbage. This is like 1985 Paul McCartney. Do you know what I mean? But worse.
Right.
Even 1985 Paul McCartney would like think of another line other than Trip of the Light Fantastic, Trip of the Light Fantastic, Trip of the Light Fantastic, Trip of the Light Fantastic. Would you fucking think of a second line?
Right.
I know fantastic is tough to rhyme with. If that's the case, pick another fucking word.
But what is that song? It's You Have to Pick a Pocket or Two from Oliver. That's the other thing. It's like there's so many of these, like Oliver, you know, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Mary Poppins, always in London, chicky, chappy, cockney stuff, and it's all fine. But like, and look, I don't envy Mark Shaman at all. Like, if someone sat down and went, do you want to write the songs to the sequel to Mary Poppins? I'd be like, nah, it's all right. Give it to somebody else. Like, it's a hell of a task.
However, so Blunt is a hole in the middle of the movie because everything revolves around her, and it's not clear to me why she's there exactly.
For everyone to want to have sex with her.
Right. Anyway, so there's that, and then there's the big song in the middle is like complete fart. Who thought putting it in fog was a good idea? They're just swinging around lampposts. That's no good. And then the third thing is the story is, and I know it's like who goes to Mary Poppins' story, but it's completely hopeless. There's zero tension. Even like about 5 minutes into the movie, Colin Firth goes, well, I'm going to give, because I'm fair, I'm going to give you till the stroke of midnight to get me the MacGuffin paper. And you go, all right, so they're going to get there just before midnight with the MacGuffin paper. That's the climax of building up to.
And also there was a whole thing about like, oh, they've got to turn back the clock at Big Bench. Like, it was kind of a neat callback thing to the Admiral. That kind of worked, but the problem with it was that it was this whole big thing where Lin-Manuel Miranda and his like chimney sweeps or whatever used their ladders and their climbing skills to get to the top of Big Ben, which was completely brilliant. I liked that. But then right at the point when they're going to get there, she just floats up on the brolly and does the thing of, well, what was the point in all the ladders there?
No, but that's the entire movie. The entire movie is Mary Poppins standing on the sidelines, right, while all this shit happens. They even, by the way, move all of their furniture out of their house.
Right.
Even though at any point she could probably just go hocus pocus jibbly jew and make a new share certificate. Or, you know what I mean?
I hadn't even thought of that, but you're right, because it exists. And also the motivation of the bad guy is he likes repossessing it. I mean, he's so lazy. He likes repossessing houses. If it was like, we make a lot of money out of this, or like, we want to, just the usual standard. We're repossessing the house because we're building a fucking whatever. You know, like, just something. But not like, I like repossessing houses. That's rubbish.
Well,
that's half a motivation at best.
So the problem is with this, is that the original script, and I'm saying the original script here, or the original idea for the script, which crops up throughout the film, is she real or isn't she real? In other words, is it just a kid's imagination? Or is all this crazy stuff happening, right?
Oh, okay.
And this happens throughout the film, like it keeps cropping up. And there's things that both make you think, oh, it was just a dream, or it was just a fantasy to get them all to like have a nice bath time or whatever it is. And then there's other things that go, no, this is definitely happening. And there's a nice through line where, like, in fact, the trailer made it look like this. If the whole point of it was Ben Whishaw and what's the woman's? Emily Mortimer. If those two had grown up and, like, I don't know, forgotten what magic was, or forgotten what life was, or forgotten what whatever was, right? And Poppins Returns to both, like, reinstall their faith, but also, like, teach their children, like, valuable stuff. Which is all in the movie, like, it's kind of in there. If that was the main through line, that would at least be slightly more charming. It wouldn't necessarily be more tension-filled or compelling, but it would be more charming. It would be about, you know, the difficulty with this is it's set in what they call, like, the big slump, but essentially like the Depression. But there's no transition. So the street, 23 Cherry Street Lane or whatever it is, that they all live on, is like super lovely and plummy and middle class and eccentric and, you know, all the rest of it at the beginning of it.
It's like, hey, Paddington did well, can we just nick that? Let's just nick Paddington.
Right. Beginning of the movie, as it is at the end of the movie. Like, it's not like you get there and everything's crumbling and falling down and she has to, like, right, roll up her sleeves and spit spot and let's put the magic and the vim back into the Banks' life. Instead, it's this, like, half-assed idea of them being in a slum, even though they're clearly wealthy middle class, right? Considering Mortimer can afford a flat in the city, while all she seems to do is go around on trade marches.
Right, so I bet when they go to the park, they go, oh, we haven't got enough for groceries. In their clearly, like, brand new, top-of-the-line luxury clothing.
Right.
So where'd the clean clothes come from?
Right.
I mean, this is like the Technicolor movie, everybody has to look great, but let's at least...
Right. So that's one of the problems. And I feel like slamming the villain in there was a function of two things. One, because someone at Disney probably went, I don't know if this is going to sustain a whole movie. We need, like, the villain that we've had in Christopher Robin, the villain which just came out with Ewan McGregor. We have to have which basically, by the way, is exactly the same film. You know, we have to have the villain we've had in Paddington. We have to have this villain. Like, we have to have the Disney villain, right? We're famous for it. Put him in there.
That's true. Actually, my favourite bit of obvious studio interference, which is easily the best, like, most tone-deaf piece of studio interference, while at the same time being, iconic was someone at the studio actually interfered with this movie with, we need a car chase. Like, they actually said, right, you know what this movie needs? This reimagining of Mary Poppins is a car chase. So halfway through the movie, it's like, why am I watching a car chase? I think an edge of bowl. There's no edge to a bowl. It is literally round. That's what a bowl is. The whole thing of like, oh, we're living on this bowl and we're walking along the surface of the bowl. It's like, oh no, you're reaching the edge of the bowl. There's no edge. It's a fucking bowl. It's round. What is this?
Yeah.
It was completely barking. And also, by the way, there's a weird mixture of like intense thought and preparation, and then half-assedness. Like Colin Firth's supposed to have this thing with his watch that's like, oh, it reminds me of the wolf, which is clearly like put in after the car chase suggestion, right? Because like the wolf cartoon's like, oh, now I'm evil. Weird. Anyway,
well, the wolf is.
No, I get it. Right. My point is to go, how are we going to make it? How are we going to draw between Firth and the wolf? So they go, hey, Colin, can you do anything clever with a watch? And he went, no. Well, can you like swing it around? Well, yeah, but not very well. Can you do that then? Swing the watch around, not very well, and that'll be like your thing. And they even like close in on it. Like, let's close in on him doing the shit thing with the watch. In case people don't know, hey, that shit thing with the watch is going to come back in a not particularly interesting way, so that you can properly enjoy the weird car chase we've shoehorned into this Mary Poppins movie.
I know, it's hilarious. You're very right about that. The thing with the other thing with the villain and putting Firth in there and bringing the bank back into it was just a way like, how do we shoehorn in a Dick Van Dyke cameo? Which, by the way, is the best thing in the whole film.
Except that also doesn't make any sense. There's a bit where they take the trouble to say, oh, Lin-Manuel Miranda was like an apprentice to a chimney sweep who knew Mary Poppins. Oh, where is this chimney sweep of which you speak? Oh, he's off travelling. It's like, oh, great. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, great. I hope, like, Dyke comes back, you know, as the fucking chimney sweep and does a little number of Mary Poppins at the end. And he does come back at the end, but as a different character.
No, he comes back as, you forget, but in the original Mary Poppins, he also plays the old bank manager.
Oh, he does? I didn't know that.
And he comes back as the son of the old bank manager.
It should have been the chimney sweep. It's only 25 years later. Are they going to take the trouble to, like, set it an accurate number of years after the original was made, and therefore the chimney sweep would have aged like that? Then why the hell not? Because it's too sad, is it? He could be a comic character? Of course. Van Dyke could pull it off. It was very weird to see.
If any of this movie needed more, it was Van Dyke.
Yeah.
In fact, right now, this is what they should have done.
Okay.
They should have done a Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks crossover with Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury, because they're literally the best two things in the whole film.
They are. That's true.
Oh, closely followed by David Warner, who was just amazing that he was even in it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was just really nice that Warner was in it, because like, when's the last time Warner's been in it?
Although the fact that his assistant was played by the Bishop from Father Ted was a little bit distracting.
Yeah.
Really? Anyway, but honestly, when I'm sitting there were too many moments where I was totally thrown out of it. Like, wait, what? But like the bit with Meryl Streep, that was really cool. I liked like Underneath the London Sky song of Miranda like cycling around London on the bicycle, and I liked a lot of it. The bit that there was, however, one moment in the movie. I don't think you had the same experience. There was a thing that happened in the movie where I literally couldn't look at the screen. And again, I'm saying literally, not in an to exaggerate that I didn't like it, but I had to close my eyes. It was so awful. Which is a really neat bit of acting by Wishaw, where he's getting really, really angry, like, you could have lost my job, whatever, and he had his reasons, and then it just morphs into like what he's really upset about when he's lost, and he says, I don't know what to do, and he sort of starts half crying. It was a really like nice bit of acting. It's probably like a little bit of a punch, you know what I mean, like it would be to the kids to see like their father, and he sits down and he's totally lost. And at that point, the youngest least talented child
The one who looks like Damien.
Yes.
Like, he should play Damien in a remake.
and he goes, I know what I'll do. In a really high sing-song, like gratingly cute voice, I'll sing that song that Mary Poppins, I mean, she might have heard it.
Mary Poppins.
Started singing before, which was like, oh, my mum's dead, I'm a bit sad. Don't worry, she's gone to where the lost things go. Yeah. Well, that sounds bad. That sounds terrible. Like, all the things that are lost in the world end up in one place. Lost, and alienated together. Yeah, it's fine, thank you. In a grey wilderness of hopelessness. Right? It's a terrible thing. My mum's dead. Don't worry, she's gone to where everything is lost goes. Far away from you, mate. And he starts singing that, and it was also just a rubbish song. It had no tune, it had no nothing. It was like, this is the tender song. It is sad. Sadness, sad.
I felt that about
that's actually got more of a tune than the tune. It was rubbish. Anyway, that's the tune. I'm cutely sad. Cute, sad. And I was like, it was so painful. I couldn't even look at it.
No. It was awful. The younger child.
And it was such a neat moment. Like, right before it was real and it was human, and they could have done that. They could have done, like, human things and then sang silly songs. Like, I liked what the songs were about. They had, like, don't worry, like, look on the bright side, blah, 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 whatever, right?
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, read a book. Like,
right, but it was fine. But
it was all generic pap, but it was fine.
But as generic pap goes, it wasn't, don't trust other races. Or why would it be that?
What in your head made you think that it would be about that? Is there a song I missed for the original Mary Poppins where Bert and Mary dance around singing about why we shouldn't let more immigrants into London?
I'm just saying, popular culture and things that are acceptable change. Clearly we're in the midst of that right now. I'm just saying, right now, people singing to me, hey, books are good, have a read of a book. It's like, yeah, you know what? That's a message I can get behind, as opposed to some of the other messages that are being thrown at me. Do you know what I mean? This is what I can get behind. That was all fine, but I liked it and I enjoyed it and I was prepared. I liked the way that it was. I liked the spirit of it. I even liked that the thing it had to say was, sometimes it's tough and you can't always see a way out, but you just keep going and look on the bright side. Well, it's the usual parts, but like a message.
Right.
The kids, the whole thing was fuzzy because the dad was supposed to be like, we're kind of. So, I did want to talk about this, but only very briefly. Did you ever see the movie, the one with Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson about like the making of Mary Poppins?
No, I didn't. I always wanted to.
So, it's really good. Right. I mean, it's not like the greatest thing ever, but the message of it is very, very cool, which I will now tell you. But if you want to see it, don't listen to this one. But the message of it is that she comes over, the woman who wrote Mary Poppins, and she's very spiky. She doesn't want it to be adapted. She doesn't like cartoons. And they intersperse it with these flashbacks of her life. Now, I suspect that what happened in her life has been slightly finessed in order to get the story right. But the whole idea was that Mary Poppins, in the original, is not there to save the children. She's there to save the dad.
Right.
Because her dad was this very charismatic guy, but he couldn't hold the job down. He was a dreamer, and he couldn't provide for his family, and they kept being moved from, he kept getting fired and getting drunk, and he just wasn't one of those people that's not built for the world. Can't hack it.
Yeah, I don't know any of those, man.
Yeah, right. But can't hack being a dad. Can't hack responsibility. And Mary Poppins comes in, and in the Saving Mr. Banks, it's her aunt, her mum's sister, who comes into this mess, right, where the father's like lying in bed, like dying and drunk, and like they're living in the middle of nowhere, and they're poor as dirt poor, and the mum's emotional wreckage, and she comes into this like household. And just by the act of making the children take their baths and eat their food and clean their rooms, it just seems like magic to them. Like order and warmth and like stories and narrative and something that they can like latch onto. It seems like a miracle. It seems like magic that someone can come into this place and order it and provide it. And it's really an amazing idea. And so when you're watching like bits of Mary Poppins Returns, and she comes in and she does something, and it's like it must seem to these kids like magic that someone could do that, could make that happen, even though it's kind of actually at its heart. And that's the thing, like you're saying, they could have doubled down on the whole is it magic or is it real thing, because then it's like you create this world, and it's like the dad's in mourning, and that's a confusion at the heart of the movie too. Right? The heart of the movie is supposed to be we don't want to lose the house, right? But the message that the dad tells us is this house, it reminds me of her, it's all I have, everywhere I look it's her. So you're thinking, well, in any other movie he would need to leave the house. It would be a thing where he wants to stay and he works really hard to stay, but in the end he has to leave, but in doing so learns a valuable lesson about grief and moving on. But in this one it's
I'm telling you, the villain thing was tacked on after.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And I'll tell you why. So sort of prong 2 where we started the episode, I think my prong 2 was to talk about...
Well, it'd be so nice if we could bookend it with prong 1 and prong 2. I think that would be
great.
Top quality podcast.
Some classic podcasting technique.
Not for us, mate.
No. For some of the young'uns to take note of. If you have a two-pronged attack against a film...
Forget one of them.
While
your mate rambles on, while you half listen, while simultaneously trying to remember your first point from the beginning.
No, so I...
No, that's very interesting, Jim. And now my first point that I just remembered.
Yeah, but I've also just thought of a third point that I might want to make. I ruined it. And there's a third point. Write that down in a minute. But I'll be very quick. And they kind of slam into each other anyway, as points are well to do. So... First point is this. A lot of films out lately. Christopher Robin, Paddington 1 and 2, Mary Poppins, etc. With sort of similar themes, similar settings.
Right.
And basically whimsy,
right.
London,
yeah.
and a villain / tragedy / something, right? And by far my favourite of any of them is Paddington.
Yeah, for sure.
The funny thing being is that I really had no connection with Paddington sort of prior to the movies.
Yeah. Half remembered cartoons when I was
Yeah, half remembered cartoons, but they were certainly not...
No.
Oh, I love me some Paddington.
Not like Danger Mouse.
Right, not like Danger Mouse. Leave Danger Mouse alone, Disney.
Do you want to see the dessert menu?
No, we're all right, thanks, mate. We'll take the check. Right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure I was done eating it, but okay.
You can always say that.
His arm just came at me from a position of authority, and I just let it happen. I've got to be quick now, I guess.
It has been nearly an hour.
Give a fuck.
Yeah, but I do have to get back to work.
Oh, shit, okay. All right, I'll be as quick as I can.
Promising star. Sorry. I'll be as quick as I can. The longest pause in podcasting history.
I know it's funny, but I really hate you, right? And I want to stab you violently in the neck. So there's two things. The reason why Paddington succeeds is twofold. First of all, because I have very little connection with the original source material outside knowing that I watched it as a kid, but I have no memory of it.
Right.
And secondly, they realise that the whimsy and the possibility and the japery and all the rest of it is far more important than any convoluted plot bullshit that no one really cares about. Yes, there's a villain in both films. Yes, there are things to be done. And yes, the family are all going to get together.
You keep it simple, but it makes sense. There's a line that makes sense throughout the movie.
Right. And there's genuine heart, and there's genuine thrills, and it feels very genuine. It feels very
it feels free.
Charming.
It feels like free to do what it likes.
But also, second to that, and this does pertain to Mary Poppins, second to that, even though it doesn't need to, because at the centre of Paddington is a CGI bear, right? So that's enough sort of, there's your special effect, or there's your graphic, or there's your whatever. Beyond that, they do some really, really nice either storytelling and or recapping and or just general design, creativity and special effects, especially in the second one with the pop-up book thing at the beginning. It's so nicely done. And it's literally an animation style and a graphic that we haven't seen before. The way they do it is really well done, and it seems very hand drawn and authentic and all the rest of it. the big problem I had with Mary Poppins is that all the fantasy sequences, such as they were, one was just flat out CGI. Oh, we're dancing around a green screen. It's another Mark Shaman song. Twiddly fiddly wordplay. And a tune no one can hum. You know. Then the central bit when they're on the bowl was kind of nice. I liked seeing some of the old like Disney animation. I thought that was someone clearly sat down and went, you know that animation they used to do in the 50s. Try and do that again. Right. And I'll give them that. I will give them that. I did like that. And I think if there's any sequence I liked the most, it was the cockney song about like all ribald jokes in the book. Little you know.
I even liked a little bit where they went just for 5 minutes. Let Lin-Manuel Miranda be Lin-Manuel Miranda. Right. With his little wordplay stuff. It was amazing.
Yeah, totally. So that was the best sequence in the whole film by far, until it went into the car chase, at which point bollocks. And then, but to my big point, over Mary Poppins Return, whatever it's called, none of it, literally none of it was original. Like, none of it was anything where you're like, oh, I haven't seen that before. Or I haven't seen, like, some version of that before. I haven't seen some thought about that. Whereas watching, like, Paddington and Paddington 2, there were bits in it where, even as a film fan, even as someone who's watched movies for 35 years, I go, oh, I hadn't seen that pop-up book thing done. That's an idea someone's had, and they've executed that spectacularly well. And for that immediately gets a star and a half just for that, regardless of anything else. And I think that having watched this Mary Poppins so close on the back of Christopher Robin, with which, by the way, it has massive parallels. And Christopher Robin wasn't like a big, dynamic, yay, so glad to see Winnie the Pooh back kind of film either. It has its moments, definitely has its moments.
A quick question, Ewan McGregor, Scottish accent or English accent?
I believe English.
Okay, so he's rubbish.
No, he's all right.
Anytime he's not Scottish.
Yeah, I know you have this thing. He's all right. And it has Agent Carter Bird in it, and I like her.
Right.
You know, Hayley Atwell.
I just think she's a bit bland.
But in general, Christopher Robin, not great either. Mary Poppins, too close on the heels of it, most definitely. And tied to that point, which is sort of also tied to the remake point that I made at the beginning, is that, you know, sitting before the movie, we got to see the kind of films
they were weird. They were uniformly weird.
We got to see the kind of films that they are pitching to children right now. And they fell into multiple different camps, but basically you had the ADD animation / fantasy film that was like, it doesn't really matter what's happening because bing, look, something else is happening. Bing, look, something else is happening. Whoosh, what's happening over there? Doesn't matter. Bing, right? There was that. There was the like horribly Christian life-affirming. My son died.
My son deserves to live more than other people's sons because I prayed hard enough.
Yeah, I prayed hard enough. And then, where literally, as the trailer was going on, I went, "Oh, thank God, Topher Grace is in it," because who doesn't?
Which
want
is
to
so
see
weird
Topher Grace?
because he's playing the preacher in this, and I'm currently watching Get Shorty, where he plays this like evil, narcissistic gay actor whose only role in the movie is to basically psychologically use up a male prostitute.
Oh wow!
It's just so weird to go. So these are his two roles right now.
No, I was being sarcastic when I said.
No, I know, but it's just so weird. You know who we need? We need to, because I think with these Christian films, like, who's free? Who will agree to do this?
Yeah. And your man from Hercules, he was probably off doing God's Really Real Part 8 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What's his name? Kevin Sorbo. Yeah. It's especially offensive, this Christian movie, because it takes place in a hospital, and I'm like, what? So, like, all these doctors are trying... There's literally a scene in the trailer where the woman goes, like, you just do whatever you can. To a doctor, a trained doctor. You just do whatever you can. God will take care of the rest. And you're like, That's not how this works.
Yeah, and also, like, what happens with people who do have kids at the hospital?
Yeah.
And they pray and they pray and they pray, and then the kids die, which happens quite often.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, oh, you didn't pray hard enough to
Yeah,
pray.
you didn't
God
pray
doesn't
enough.
love you
God
enough.
doesn't love you enough.
It's like such bullshit.
It is.
Anyway,
So
it was a weird thing to have to sit through before Mary Poppins. I mean, you can see why. It's like, well, you know, who's going to go and see this?
Yeah, no, totally.
You know,
They were all movie
nutters.
appropriate. They were all movie appropriate. They were all kids' films. Then we had A Dog's Life Part 2, which was essentially exactly like A Dog's Life, only even less interesting because there wasn't Dennis Quaid in it. I mean, at least put more Dennis Quaid in it. Don't remove
As any movie,
one thing.
yeah, don't ever take Dennis Quaid out.
You're like, wait a minute. So we did this film, A Dog's Life. It had Dennis Quaid in it, right? We want to do another one like that, but we can't afford Dennis Quaid. Just don't bother me.
Don't bother.
Because you either put Quaid in it with a dog, in which case I'll agree to that.
Reluctantly, but
or
Quaid clause.
remove Quaid and put in a vacant-looking early 20s. Who is this guy?
I don't care.
Yeah, nobody cares. Put Quaid back in it, and maybe you've got yourself a
I
sequel.
do have to go back to work, so we should.
And then,
we should wrap.
what else was there? But there was a lot of bollocks. But basically, if you want to look around the world and realise why the generation behind us, or the generation nipping at our heels, or whatever, are the way they are, this is what they've been bombarded with, mate, for decades.
Maybe.
Apart from that, Disney stop live-action remaking all your cartoon films because it's creepy. Dumbo is creepy. The Lion King is creepy. Stop. Do it with your... Do, like, sequels to your live-action stuff. Do a sequel to Natty Gann. Everyone would love that. But no, don't redo Dumbo with... I know, let's get Tim Burton to redo Dumbo because that won't be incredibly weird and bothersome.
I don't know why Tim Burton's something like... It's like...
Because can you imagine being a
People
parent
work
right
with
now?
Disney and then they just die inside.
Yeah.
Like, that happens, right?
Yeah, no, it does. Can you imagine being a parent right now and going, oh my God, Dumbo's coming out again. I loved that as a kid. Let's go take you to see Dumbo. And then, like, having to explain to your child after that live-action remake and go, okay, I don't know what just happened, but my entire life is...
What are they going to do? They're going to have to
Upside down.
do like a live action remake of Bambi. Good luck with that.
Of what?
Bambi. And shoot a deer in the head.
Yeah, right.
In full colour, in full real colour. We actually shot a deer.
Yeah, Zeus is...
You know what I mean? We wanted to make it as real as possible.
We didn't want to skim public thesis of Batman.
In fact, that's all it is the build up to the deer getting shot, and then they get skinned and eaten, and then the credits roll.
Yeah. Fantastic. But no, so it's all deeply weird. At the end of the day, Mary Poppins Returns, it's passable fluff that could have been, like this, again, it's one of those things. I'm not really invested in the whole Poppins saga. but if you're going to sequelize
Here comes the shit he does give.
if you're going to sequelize it and you're going to continue, and there's clearly going to be like a nugget of an idea in it, much like we say about almost all films these days, just go in and do a rewrite. Like for 5 minutes, just get rid of Colin Firth, or change him into the grandfather. Right? Stop casting Ben Whishaw and Julie Walters in everything. They're in Paddington already. Like, stop recasting.
But yeah,
them.
she's playing the same part as Paddington.
Yeah.
And he's Paddington. Like, going, oh, hello, I'm the father. Like, you sound like Paddington. That's so... But this is the problem, is that...
But he did have a comical Michael Palin mid-70s mustache, which I kind of like.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't mind him. Anyway, so...
And Mortimer is as vacuous as all get
Well,
by.
I don't know what Mortimer does.
She's just vague.
Yeah. So,
We need a plummy-sounding English actress who's willing to dye her hair blonde. Emily Mortimer? All right. That's literally as much thought as they gave any of the
I have to say, I do wonder with things like this, because Disney are becoming
Can we just split it? Yeah.
because they are becoming all powerful. You know, they're launching the streaming service and they're remaking everything, and they're just like plundering their own back catalogue to make as much cash as they can because they don't want to like make new shit.
Right.
Which is fine, whatever. But the interesting thing to me, just from an organisational standpoint, was the car chase. Because the car chase says to me that they've put a film together and they've gone, let's get what's his face, Marshall.
John?
Let's get Marshall. He knows movies. Let's get these singer-songwriters.
Who's he done before?
Didn't he do like Chicago and stuff like that? Let's get these, songwriters in. Let's get Miranda. I don't understand how you get Miranda involved and not let him in the songs, but whatever.
No, I'm good.
But they've done all this stuff, and they clearly they couldn't stop fiddling with it.
He must have written the rap during.
Yeah, well, that's true. Thank you. Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is, you put all those things together, and you trust them a bit, and yeah, it's okay to guide them, but they went in and they quite clearly fiddled, and they made it worse, and they took out the heart. And I know that Blunt did not. Blunt is not big. Thank you very much. Thank you. Blunt is like the Audrey Hepburn of My Fair Lady. It's like she shouldn't really be that. There's someone else out there. Maybe they had somebody in mind. I don't know. But my point is that they've gotten that big, and now they think that that everything they touch turns to gold. But that's what they think now. Disney, because they've done so well. They bought Pixar, they bought Star Wars, all the rest of it. But they had a chance with this one, and it was so close. Like the mood of it, and the obvious expertise of the people involved, and the talent of people involved, and then they didn't trust that. They had to fiddle. Yeah. And they've turned it into something that means nothing. Right. It wasn't saying anything. Why? What's the point?
When the credits rolled, at the beginning, I actually got my hopes up because I'm like, oh, that's interesting. In the producer, director, and writer spot, there's basically 3-4 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so this is going to at least be a small community of people's vision of whatever the story is.
Yeah, which is there. It's like you say, the thing about the is she real or is she not? It's like you're right. There's like sparks of the idea in there, but it's overwhelmed by this clearly, like you're saying, interference with like Big Ben and Birth and the car chase, all this absolute bollocks that leaves not enough time. And I'm telling you, that fog sequence is like, what is that doing? It's a black hole in the middle of that.
Right. And also, the last point, it almost would have been worth doing it in like modern times, almost.
Yeah, if you're going to have that thing.
Rather than skip it forward 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you can't have cheery chimney sweeps, but you could have, I don't know, cheery someone else, cheery hot dog
stand. A bit of imagination, and she doesn't have to be doing an impression of Julie Andrews. Because then it's like, well, who the fuck is Mary Poppins anyway? Is she like, she can change, right? I mean, her face has changed, but not dumb. Right. She's clearly a different person. Right. So let's just roll with that. And everything Blunt did was just like, this isn't you. There's nothing real underneath.
But I still say,
there's no warmth.
I still say that the biggest, I can't believe they finally actually put this in the movie. So many fantasy films, magic films, Lord of the Rings, whatever it is, they all have that moment where they're like, wait, why didn't they just go back to the beginning and shoot the guy in the head? Or why didn't they just get the eagle to drop the ring into whatever? Or why didn't they just... There's always that one question, right? This movie literally answers that question with Mary Poppins going, what, you can't climb up to the clock? All right, I'll fly up to the clock and do it myself. You're like, it literally... Like, I couldn't honestly believe it was happening. Like, I was watching it going, what? So wait a minute, she could have done that all along. You know what I mean? Like, she literally picked up the kite, like, up towards the beginning of the movie, which, by the way, we already knew that that's where the share certificate was, because when you picked up the drawing, you saw a share certificate on the back of it in, like, the third scene. So,
didn't she put the share certificate in the box for him to take out? I'm pretty sure that happened. So their message is, well, they have to do it for themselves. Oh, they have to luckily come across the thing that has to be found. It's just a MacGuffin. It's not like, oh, I finally, I learned so much when I found that piece of paper. There's no message there. I think there's no learning in finding a piece of paper that people are looking for.
The end credit sequence after the credits finish should have. They all go into the house. They're all happy. They're all smiling. They're, oh, I love Mary Poppins, so she's great. Blah 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 blah. They go into the house. They sit down. He's having a cup of tea, and he goes, wait a minute. She could have given... Wait, she made me unpack my entire house and put it in a van.
No, I think she put that drawing in the box. She found it like 5 minutes after walking to the house. She could have walked into the house, picked up the share certificate and gone, there you go, and buggered off back to, Never Sky, whatever land.
No, but it was the way
to put her feet up.
He should sit down, isn't it? And go, wait a minute. She made me pack up my entire house, move it in a van, and then re-unpack it.
Also, what was the Meryl Streep bit before? It was like, we need to take the bowl to Meryl Streep to get it repaired. And then Meryl Streep went, oh yeah.
It was for a cameo.
I can repair the bowl. Great. That's it.
It's look at things.
You didn't even get there was no reason for but there was no reason for the bowl to be repaired other than the bowl's nice. Just come up with something.
Look at it. Looking at things a different way. Anyway, Tish and Pish and Pepsi.
I did still enjoy sitting there in the heated seat watching a silly bit of
It wasn't crispy enough. Crispy enough. It wasn't crispy enough or Christmassy enough. It lacked everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bugger off.
You're listening to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling.
I guess you just keep in mind that it's a melancholy song. This is Bruce. The lights come down in the stadium. And the lights come out.
Okay, so I'll start again then, okay?
Okay.
Let's leave some phlegm on the mic. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
They ain't hanging lights on Main Street in Trenton. Ocean City won't put up a Christmas tree. And no one singing carols up in Hoboken. Santa ain't welcome in Atlantic City. Because nobody believes in Christmas in New Jersey anymore. Nobody believes in Christmas in New Jersey anymore. Nobody believes in Christmas. They have written it off this year. Just don't mention Christmas to anyone round here. You won't hear the sound of presents being wrapped up in Lakewood. Newark is cold and dark. Red Bank set fire to its nativity scene. There's no turkeys being stuffed at Asbury Park. Because nobody believes in Christmas in New Jersey anymore. Yes, nobody believes in Christmas in New Jersey anymore. Nobody believes in Christmas. They have written it off this year. Just don't mention Christmas to anyone round here. Gonna tear the star from your tree. Gonna pull off those eagle's wings. Don't shake your baubles at me. 'Cause I get nauseous when the jingle bells ring. I don't want tinsel in my carpet no more. Gonna kick the snowman from your front door. There's a one pine needles on my floor. And I don't care if this is when the Christ child was born. There's no Christmas. No Christmas in New Jersey this year. No Christmas in New Jersey, my dear. There's no Christmas in New Jersey this year. No We don't do that neither.
That was an awesome ending.